right.
Oh, it's Noor, Azizan Gardner. How you doing?
I'm good, refreshed. Oddly enough, at this time.
You're refreshed by the possibilities of now. Well, we'll get into that. What are you seeing all around you? What's happening in your world? How's that going?
What's happening in my world? It's spring. It's beautiful outside. It's soft rain on beautiful, fresh new leaves. So that's what's outside when I look out of the window of my kitchen. Um, I think a lot of right now, what's happening around me, it's very quiet, but more what's happening inside of me that's more relevant right now, I think,
Well, I think our
than
viewers need to
around
know
me.
more. So it sounds like I know because I know you're crazy busy. You're always traveling and so forth. So it seems to be that you're taking note of that. But what's happening in your head or other places?
What's happening in my head? This is a chance, I think, for me to discover new things that exactly not new. They're all around me, but I'm rediscovering them. I'm rediscovering myself. The idea of curiosity. I'm constantly curious about what's in my house, for example, because I'm never, like my house is a place where I go to bed at night and crash and then get out in first thing in the morning, for example. But I'm discovering books that I read once upon a time and I'm rereading again. And one of them, I love this book. And if you've ever get the chance to look at it, it's called Designing Your Life by the design lab um, heads at Stanford in Palo Alto. Um, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, and it just hit the spot. And I thought, wow, this is the way for us to approach what we need to do after this lockdown, so to speak, or stay-at-home orders that we're all in, and find ways to discover, prototype many solutions to where we go next.
So
And
this is
that's
from the
extraordinary.
book. So this is design, so problem solving and solution
Right.
finding
But
for design applied to real people's lives.
right. So it's about using design ideas rather than sort of the engineering sort of concept where you have data and then
Yeah,
you find the perfect solution. We don't really know what solutions we need to have at this time. And so we have many possibilities. We just need to test them out. And that's, I think, really reasonable, probably practical way to um, explore the future post pandemic.
exactly. If we ever will be post-pandemic, but that's a different
Right.
point. No, I love it, and the idea also of not being certain about that. I mean, data is about the past. There is very little that we can predict about the future, and what is can be fairly negative as well. We've had the news this week, which the second wave and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty scary stuff.
Right.
So you're very busy. It was planes, trains, automobiles, long hours, and so forth. So you seem to be sort of physically still. So what's happening there? What's the opportunity there with being in a place and being with yourself?
I'm actually, this is funny. I teach a lot about being present, being mindful, and I don't often do a good job of actually living that. And I'm living that right now. I'm pausing and being present most of the time. It's quite extraordinary. I mean, just the idea of just sitting still and watching um, my cat, for example, running around in the garden looking at moles and lizards and looking out of my kitchen window and looking at the falling rain, um, thinking about, wow, spring, it's amazing. I never actually took the time to look at tulips or
Yeah.
this is absolutely extraordinary, and irises popping up right now. But really taking the time to be still, to pause, and to just experience the everyday.
I love
That
it.
is such a gift
I tell you,
to
it's
be
one thing
able.
that's coming up to me. I must ask you a question. I'm throwing a left fielder at you.
Okay.
Are you, because you haven't been doing that, are you looking with your younger eyes, which is more about relating and memory, or
Hmm.
are you in the present and seeing the old thing in a new way? Anything coming up for you?
I think it's the latter. It's seeing something in a totally different way.
Yeah.
Being able to actually experience it. I mean, I think it's quite amazing, because if I use my younger self, I would only see the outward appearance.
Lovely, lovely.
I wouldn't actually ask myself, I wonder what's behind that. I wonder what's behind the rocks. There's actually a mole behind the rocks, which something, my younger self would just say, yeah, rocks. It's just, instead of actually spending 5 minutes watching my cat finding a mole, it's quite amazing. So yes, it's really seeing the ordinary with a different set of eyes.
You are literally going deeper. So it's a refreshed view and a different perspective. And of course, our perspective is coloured by experience. And therefore, the last time you looked, you had less experience. Now, when you look, you have more experience.
Right. I think that's a good way to put it.
I love it. And we talked before the recording started about old you in terms of project or approach to work and maybe new you. Do you want to say a few words about that?
Um, the new, well, not quite new me. I think it's always been inside of me,
Yeah,
but
newly released you.
I'm rediscovering it again. Is to be able to, when I talk about mindfulness and being centered, is to pay attention to process, to pay attention to the journey itself, rather than just going straight to where I'm planning to go,
Yeah.
whether it's a project or a place that I'm heading towards in 6 hours, for example. So I think that to really experience the journey and to pay attention to the process, whether it's inside of me or around me, is extraordinary. I don't think that I took the time to do that. There was a time in my life when I did that and I forgot about it. As we move up in any sort of corporate or academic sort of, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
movements, the
hierarchy, the power.
hierarchy, or whatever you have, you forget a lot of things because of stress, crises, um,
Yeah,
all those responsibilities. And now it's
yeah.
time to rediscover that again for me.
Well, they're narrowing your focus, aren't they? There's a person I know who's probably the most successful person I know, apart from your good self, apart from you. 5 kids, crazy busy. This person has the narrowest focus I've ever seen. She literally can't hear. If you're off topic, she can't hear you. And you're thinking, she achieved so much, but the opposite would be what you're talking about. That person is not present. Wonderful person, huge achiever of things, but they are not
Mm-hmm.
present. So I love it. So really, your success in terms of corporate altitude or academic altitude has come at a price. So it seems to be
Yes,
you're being given something of a second chance, a second opportunity.
I agree. Actually, that's really a good way to put it. Um, it's when I said originally that I'm refreshed, I feel that I've been given um, a new lens
Lovely.
to look at myself and the world about me. And yes, a second chance perhaps is a good way, but it could be also a third chance or a fourth chance. you know and um but it is about recapturing yourself and the world around you, and taking the best of what you once had and bring it back out again. Um, that's
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So let's
wonderful.
summarize now. By the way, what will you miss most if lockdown and stay at home ever ends? Is there something you're particularly into at the moment?
Well, I'm going to miss the calm and tranquility of not having to dash off to the
Yeah,
next meeting,
yeah,
or be on the plane and
yeah,
do a workshop somewhere or presentation somewhere. I'm going to miss the calm and tranquility.
yeah,
I am not going to miss not being around people, because,
yeah,
as
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I
yeah,
am the extrovert
yeah,
extraordinaire, and I miss people. I really
yeah.
miss
The
being
touch, the
around
spontaneous,
people who
the shared plate of
right.
food, the humor, the jokes, the spontaneity. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I miss being around people like you in person.
Except,
So
well,
that
we're only 3,000 miles away, really.
right. But but I will miss the calm and tranquility, and my journey to rediscover myself. And I would miss that. But then I can remember that and create moments where I can do that again.
No, exactly. Okay, so I think we probably transferred some wonderful stuff to the viewer. So thanks for doing that. Is there one final thought or reflection to leave with the viewer?
I discovered this in this sort of time of quietness, is to, for the first time, I'm using all my five senses to look within and without. I mean, to look within myself and to look outwards. And that, I think, is something so important, because it's not just seeing something in a superficial way, but really diving deep. And I think all of us, in whatever occupation or careers that we have, I think that's always a good thing to have, to be able to use all your five senses and to see and sense every day.
So take a use your five senses, and if you like, you use them for a second time, third time, fourth time. So to reuse your five senses.
Right.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, we wish you well. We know
Thank
you'll be
you.
on planes, trains, and automobiles before too long. So we are happy. All of us are happy for you to have this time with yourself, with your cat, with your moles, with your lizards, in the
Right.
garden, in the house, and with Stanford never too far away. Noah, thanks very
Exactly.
much.
Thanks. Bye.